Have you ever stopped to wonder, what if every time you complained, you were silently giving away your personal power? What if each little groan about traffic, each sigh about the weather, or each rant about daily inconveniences was doing more than just releasing steam? What if those seemingly innocent complaints were actually shaping your reality, and not in a good way? Picture this. You're sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Horns are blaring, your favorite song just ended, and you're already 10 minutes late. The natural instinct to complain. But what if, in that very moment, you were unknowingly surrendering your emotional freedom to something you can't control? Today, we're going to explore a powerful idea from one of the most resilient philosophies of all time, stoicism, and why the simple act of complaining might be one of the most damaging habits you carry. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why, but you'll learn how to break free from this cycle once and for all. In a world where complaining has practically become social currency, whether it's about your boss, the weather, or even your Wi-Fi signal, it's tempting to think it's harmless. After all, don't we all deserve to vent now and then? But here's the truth. Stoicism teaches us something radically different. To the Stoics, complaining isn't just a minor character flaw. It's a mindset, a destructive one. It's a way of seeing the world that slowly chips away at your sense of agency. And the scariest part, most of us don't even realize we're doing it. Think of how easy it is to fall into the trap. Your coffee order is wrong, you stub your toe, someone cuts you off in traffic. Instantly, the complaint switch flips. It's automatic. But Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, three of the most profound thinkers in Stoic philosophy, believed that true freedom comes not from changing the world around us, but from changing how we react to it. Let's start with the first problem. Complaining focuses your attention entirely on the negative. Imagine standing in front of a beautiful, old, stone wall. It's solid, intricate, and tells a story. But instead of appreciating the craftsmanship, you fixate on a tiny crack near the bottom. That crack becomes all you see. That's what complaining does to your perception of life. It zooms in on the flaws and blinds you to the bigger picture. Every time you voice a complaint about the line at the store, your slow computer, or the weather being too hot or too cold, you reinforce a habit of focusing on what's wrong instead of what's right. You train your brain to seek out irritation, and over time, your inner dialogue becomes a never-ending list of everything that's lacking. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, were adamant about one thing. We do not control the external world, but we do control how we respond to it. So, when you find yourself stuck in traffic, you have two choices. 1. Let frustration take over, complain aloud, and stew in your irritation. Or 2. Take a deep breath and use that moment to cultivate patience, gratitude, or even a new idea. You can listen to an audiobook, reflect on your day, or simply observe the world around you with calm detachment. The first choice keeps you shackled. The second, it makes you free. Now here's something even deeper. Every complaint is a quiet declaration that you're powerless. Think about that. Every time you say, "Why does this always happen to me?" or "This is so unfair," you're reinforcing a narrative that you're at the mercy of external forces. You're casting yourself in the role of the victim. And when you see yourself as a victim, you stop looking for solutions. Complaining, in this sense, becomes a habit of surrender. You give away your emotional authority to traffic, rude strangers, or unpredictable weather. And while it might feel good in the moment to rant or vent, it slowly undermines your resilience. The Stoics taught that our true power lies not in changing our circumstances, but in mastering our reactions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength shows up in the quiet decisions you make daily, choosing not to lash out at the barista who got your drink wrong, not spiraling into negativity when your plans change, not letting the rain ruin your day. Each time you do that, you will reclaim a little more power. So ask yourself, how often do you let minor inconveniences hijack your peace of mind? What if you decided to stop? What might change? Let's get into the emotional toll. Complaining doesn't just make you feel powerless, it stresses you out. We've all been there. One small thing goes wrong, and suddenly, it feels like everything is falling apart. Maybe your favorite shirt is in the laundry, or your phone battery dies during an important call. What starts as a tiny irritation snowballs into a foul mood that colors your whole day. Science backs this up. Studies have shown that repeatedly focusing on negative stimuli, like complaints, triggers the body's stress response. Cortisol levels rise, your heart rate increases, your immune system takes a hit, all because you couldn't let go of that one minor issue. The Stoics knew that emotional equilibrium wasn't about pretending everything is fine. It was about choosing not to be owned by momentary discomfort. They understood that complaints don't fix problems. They just magnify your emotional reaction to them. Instead of letting every small inconvenience become a crisis, what if you trained yourself to pause? What if, the next time your plans go sideways, you said, "This is outside my control, but my response is mine to own"? That's not just Stoic wisdom, that's emotional intelligence. So where does that leave us? Complaining might seem harmless, even justified, but in reality, it's a habit that strips you of your power, sharpens your focus on the negative, and quietly builds a life filled with unnecessary stress. But here's the good news. You don't have to live that way. So we've seen how complaining steals your focus, saps your strength, and silently rewires your brain to see problems everywhere. But it goes deeper than just mindset. It affects your mental health, your relationships, and your entire experience of life. Let's keep going. It's not just a bad habit, it's the fuel that feeds your stress. The more you complain, the more you feed the fire of anxious, racing thoughts. One small setback becomes a storm in your mind. A delayed email suddenly feels like a disaster. A rude comment loops in your head for hours. Seneca, the great Roman Stoic, once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. It's not what happens to us that breaks us down. It's the story we tell ourselves about it. A minor inconvenience, a flat tire, a late bus, a spilled coffee, can snowball into frustration, anger, even despair when we let complaints take over. We dramatize, we exaggerate, we turn discomfort into disaster through the power of our own thoughts. But here's the Stoic way. Reframe. Don't complain. See the setback as a challenge, not a curse. When something goes wrong, pause. Instead of venting or spiraling, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I handle this with calmness and clarity? That tiny mental shift makes a massive difference. Suddenly, the situation feels manageable. You feel lighter. You move forward. Because truthfully, most of the storms we face are internal. Change your perspective, and the storm passes. You've probably felt it before, being around someone who constantly complains. It's like their words drain the room of light. The energy shifts. Conversations become heavier. Even the simplest things start to feel more complicated than they are. Now flip the script. Have you ever noticed what happens when you complain too much? Maybe friends start to distance themselves, or co-workers seem less eager to collaborate. It's subtle at first, but it builds. Complaining doesn't just affect your mindset, it affects the emotional environment you're creating for others. When you constantly vocalize dissatisfaction, you're spreading negativity like secondhand smoke. It lingers, it clings, it exhausts. Relationships, whether they're with a partner, a friend, or a colleague, thrive on constructive energy. They grow with understanding, openness, and mutual respect. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that wisdom is not just knowing what to say, but knowing when to say it, and when silence is the more powerful choice. So the next time you're tempted to complain about your partner's habits, your boss's decisions, or a friend's attitude, stop. Ask yourself, is this complaint helpful? Is it fair? Or is it just a reflex? A Stoic approach would be to express your concern if needed, but calmly, respectfully, and without blame. That's how change happens. That's how trust is built. When you cut out unnecessary complaints, you create space for connection. You make room for conversations that build rather than break. It's not just a nice idea, it's a Stoic practice. Gratitude is a mindset that flips your entire world upside down in the best way possible. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most powerful man of his time, used to remind himself daily of what he was grateful for, not because life was easy, but because gratitude gave him strength in hardship. It grounded him. When we complain, we fixate on what's missing. Gratitude shifts that focus to what's already here. Had a tough day at work? Sure. But did you learn something new? Did a coworker make you laugh? Did you finish a task despite the stress? These are wins. Recognize them. The Stoics would say, don't overlook the good just because it's quiet. Even in the middle of a chaotic day, there's always something to be thankful for. The warmth of your coffee, a kind message from a friend, even just the fact that you woke up this morning with another chance to try again. When you make gratitude a regular habit, your brain starts scanning for the good automatically. And when you're focused on what's good, there's simply less room for complaints. Here's a truth most people miss. The Stoics didn't view challenges as obstacles. They saw them as opportunities. A hard day, a rough conversation, a failed plan. These weren't excuses to complain. They were training grounds for growth. To the Stoics, every difficulty was a classroom. Every moment of discomfort was a chance to sharpen your character, to test your resilience, to practice self-control. So, the next time you're given a tough assignment at work, don't groan. Don't fall into the usual "why me" trap. Ask yourself, what skill can I build here? What part of me is being strengthened right now? Because complaining about the challenge won't make it easier, but embracing it just might make you stronger. The Stoics knew that life isn't meant to be smooth. It's meant to be meaningful. And meaning often comes from struggle, from effort, from walking through the fire without losing your integrity. Every challenge is a mirror. It shows you who you are and who you can become. Let's be clear, complaining changes nothing. It doesn't solve problems. It doesn't build resilience. It doesn't bring joy. In fact, it does the opposite. It weakens your power and dims your potential. But when you shift your mindset towards Stoic principles, when you reframe, reflect, and respond with purpose, you unlock a different kind of life. One where you're no longer at the mercy of circumstances. One where you decide how to show up. Because at the end of the day, happiness isn't found in perfect weather, stress-free jobs, or people who always agree with you. It's found in how you respond when life gets hard. And that's the Stoic secret. If this video gave you something to think about, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Stoic insights that help you live with intention. Drop a comment below. What's one situation where you stopped yourself from complaining and chose strength instead? We'd love to hear your story and how Stoicism has helped you take control of your reactions.